Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and in this classic review, we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe, a real American hero, Cobra, scrap iron, and his missile launcher, which was really one of the coolest things I can remember having as a kid. Because one of the really cool things about that is it wasn't too small that you were going to lose the little parts. And then you had this figure, which still has one of the coolest weapons. I always loved anything that was like an automatic pistol. I just thought that it was really cool. Having pistols in the Real American line was something special too, because there really weren't that many. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this. This is not my original one. I had my original one. Actually, I still do have my original one. He actually resides somewhere. He was in the Stinger, but I recently did the Stinger in review and took it out. But I still do have my original. But I had to get a nice one, as certain parts had been lost over times on the rocket launcher. And it was actually just cheaper to buy a whole new figure than try and piece it together. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this figure. I want to hear a story. Did you have this guy? Did you somehow get him? Was this the guy that had to go with Destro? Because in my mind, he was already part of Destro's crew, all right? He was the weapons manufacturer, helped with the weapons manufacturer, and I think we've seen that going forward with a lot of the lore. But anyway, here he is. Let's take a look at him, because you don't need to keep looking at this. But before we do, if you like this type of content, you like looking at the old classic O-ring figures, you want to go back in time, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time we drop something like this. All right, now we have our scrap iron out, and now, like I said, this is not my original. I do still have my original, but this one is in much better condition. So anyway, as always, I like to look at the accessories first, and we'll start with his rocket launcher, because this was really such a cool device, something really cool to play with as a kid. So once you kind of set it right there, it could actually turn side to side. So you weren't actually turning the legs. It actually swiveled right up here, which is really nice design for that time. All right, it has two rockets that come out, and they are very rubberized, so you normally don't see these in a straight position. Right here, all right, you're gonna look, you have the four little wings there, and then you got the four wings in the back, but nice little design. And I do believe, like, the way that it notched in there, these things were meant to kind of just be there for a bit. Now, it would have been nice had there was a piece right in the middle. Even as a kid, I kind of remember complaining, because you want them to be separate. They kind of just move around, which can be kind of frustrating. Not that big of a deal. All right, as for the legs came off in two different pieces. All right, and many people would end up with only one. Only one or two of the same one, who knows. So you have the base piece here that kind of sat there. Then you're going to get this piece that's going to pop on in there. And then that just went in there to hold it into place. Nice little design. And then it plugged right in there. So a lot of people would have, from the accessory packs, the different legs. They were dark blue. They matched. They fit perfectly fine. All right. As for the design up here, you have some vents right here. So it does give you a nice look, that when these are in here, all right, it was nice because it just kind of offset the color. But this is some vents, so when it does fire, you can have some places that it can kind of come out there. And then on the top, you just get a little bit of the mechanics, all right? Who knows what it is? Again, this is all made up. There is nothing on the back, but what we do get is his little piece that can launch it. Now, again, not everything is remote control at this time in real life, so this has a nice cord. It popped in, and it's probably the easiest thing to get lost, because it just kind of plugged right in there. But you can see all the design on it. This thing just would plug right in here, and it was soft and pliable enough that you didn't have to worry about it breaking the same way that Flash's original laser did. But on the controllers, if you look, you can see just a couple little buttons. I'm going to assume tell it to fire the left or the right one, and then it's off to the races. As for his gun, I absolutely love this gun. All right. This was just a lot of fun. It was an automatic pistol, at least in our mind. You can see the trigger right there. You got the nice grip. All right. I don't know if this is real, but it has an iron sight. And anytime I got a pistol, it was huge. All right. Even though sometimes I kind of lost them. But I love the automatic pistol. I don't know why. It just seemed like a lot of fun as a kid. You can see where the bullets are actually going to eject from, I believe, right there. All right, so a lot of fun. I absolutely love this gun. This for the classified line, I was very disappointed they didn't recreate this gun just because I loved it that much. As for scrap iron, this was a guy that, he was a far ahead of its time, in my opinion. All right, so he's got this big helmet. You got your Cobra symbol right there, and then he has the glasses. We never saw his eyes, and I'm perfectly fine with this. You got the earpieces here. Now this was meant so the goggles could go up. Obviously, we didn't need to see any eyes here. You got your mouth, your nose. He's got this wonderful collared shirt. He's got a red shirt underneath it, and then what I would assume is some sort of body armor. You can see the clasps right there, your belt buckles that are going to hold this together. And then on this, 2 different grenades, and then a nice little pouch. But this looks like a soft, so he's going to be able to take a little bit of impact if he gets hit by the explosion. As for the arms, you got the Cobra symbol right there, and then it runs right down into the glove. And I love the fact that they put a little bit of an elbow pad right here. Technically, I guess it's more of a forearm pad, but you can see all the detail they put there, so it kind of wraps around his hand. All right, and this side is the exact same. No real different. As for the crotch piece, you're going to get the belt. There's your buckle. It wraps around. A little bit of a pouch there. You can see the belt loops. It's got a couple back pockets, and his design goes all the way down through his crotch, which, well, that's an interesting design. Here we have the holster and the side pistol for his thigh. It's got the strap that goes around, and again, you can see they put a belt buckle right inside of there. On this side, we got a couple little things here. I forget exactly what these are. So if you know what they are, I think they're actual pins. So I think these are actual pins, if I remember correctly. That's why he has 4 of them. That he would put them in here. They'd pound them down. That way, when this thing fired, it wouldn't get knocked off. I believe that is what somebody had said. As for his knees, he has a small little knee pad. I mentioned before, I love the knee pads. I don't know why. I thought they were just really cool the way they stuck up there. Then you get down to the bottom of his pant leg, and you can see it's the same thing, the stretchy little material. So it's going to wrap around the boot. The shoelaces on the boot right there, and you can see a little bit of wrinkling just around the boot because he's going to be walking around. Now, looking at this, it almost looks like they gave him a steel toe right there, which is probably pretty smart considering the heavy material he's going to be walking around with. He does have the peg right there on the bottom, so that is your scrap iron. Now to arm him up. Oh, you know what? We didn't do the articulation. Not that you guys don't know it, but he can turn side to side. T-pose. There's a twist at the shoulder. Just over 90 degrees there. Swivel with the O-ring has been replaced. His is Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is actually pretty good, but these ones are meant to be like this, so I can actually sit them down just like that. As for the knees, you're only going to get 90 degrees. I really wish this could have been something a little bit better. The knee pads I always liked because it extended it, so it made it so it was a little bit easier for them to be on their knees, or if they're going to go like that. All right. So we're going to arm this guy up and make him fire off some of his missiles. So this should fit right in here. And the one thing that's really nice is that this is soft. But if you feel like you're stressing too much, I will reiterate, Do not force it in any of these hands. It has been a long time. You don't want to ruin that. So anyway, there is your scrap iron review, the classic reviews that we've been doing. All right, so there we go. That is your classic review of scrap iron. Again, I didn't go back to when I bought an actual figure, at least I don't remember, looking at a figure and being like, wow, this one has more accessories, more parts, more weapons, more guns or whatever than this one. But we definitely did notice when there was a whole bunch. It made us feel like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. I have more stuff. But I didn't feel like, hey, I can't buy Grunt because he only has a backpack and, you know, and he's M16 compared to, let's say, Spirit, who has a bird and a backpack and a gun and his loincloth in the front. That's not a loincloth. Sorry if I'm offending anyone. But I think you can get the idea. Again, I like this figure. I love the stuff that he had because it was world building at its best for what, under $3 as a kid. So anyway, I think I've said enough. But I'd love to hear a story. If you have any, if you had this figure, I feel like a lot of people have this figure. It's why it's not that hard to come by. But it's time to move on. Maybe move on to the next one or go back and watch the last one that I did. So before we do, if you like this type of content, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a classic review. Now I'm going to get out of here, but don't go anywhere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a video to the last classic review that I did. That's the Baroness. Down here is a playlist of all the classic reviews that I've done. Take care.